Hey, Contractors Chronicles community, just awesome to be with you again. It's that time of the week again. Can you believe it? For those who are on this podcast and you want to see the visual behind me, the mountain, the energy, I'll tell you this: the energy of this mountain just does it for me. So blessed to be in this environment and just to see this every morning. So, what is it about this week? Well, this week has been a special week, I think, because we've had some breakthroughs on the team side. Remember, I always talk about breaking 3 areas down from our community, saying to you, this is the areas that we're working on. We're currently working on our team, especially team leadership. We're working on systems and we're working on our numbers. So the biggest feedback I can once again give you is on team. And the reason why I spent so much on team is because I've had a big breakthrough this week, I think. Reading a lot of articles on great businesses that succeed. Very few of them succeed without people being looked after and them being the primary motive. So what have we done about our people? Well, I think one of the big breakthroughs we've had is definitely working on our culture and our value system. We did our value system a couple of years ago, where we put together a 1 page of values that we really stick to, some of them being integrity, ownership, honesty, those kind of things, those kind of areas. And we really stick by our value system. We hire to our value system, we fire to our value system, we treat our customers to our value system. If anyone's curious about how that is, drop me a message after this and I'm happy to send you a link to a document that spells out the Lab Manifesto. The Lab Manifesto was born on gave birth to the Lab Manifesto just over a year ago. It's a 3-year vision of where we want to take our business, and Lab of Companies was born. As you can see, I'm wearing my Lab of Companies shirt over here. I hope you like my Lab of Companies shirt. Services that you can trust, we're going to change that to home services we can trust. And we realized in contracting specifically that so we've got the blind being led by someone that isn't blind. So that's symbolic for us that we want to create an environment that people can trust, and we want to have a workforce that people can trust. So how do we create that? Well, we've got to invest in our people. So the feedback I can give you, just a quick story, is guys, you cannot underestimate the power of investing in your people, emotionally, and making them feel human. So what did we do in the last couple of weeks? I think I might have mentioned it in the last podcast as well. It needed my intervention. I just had I very much grow my business on my gut and my intuition, and I just felt like it needed my intervention. I've deliberately over the last couple of years stood back a little bit so that I could leave the team to take ownership of problems, take ownership of successes as well, take ownership of decisions going forward, and basically be a mentor behind them, guiding them, and really fostering that kind of environment of ownership in our team. And this day I did feel I needed to intervene. There's a little bit of a negativity that was fostering amongst our installers, and I was hearing it via the grapevine, because I do pop in every day in some way or another. If it's check-ins, and most of the times I go in and I really mix with the team and find out how they're doing, sit with them, have a cup of coffee with them, because that's my job. I am the Chief Energizing Officer, CEO, and I need to make sure that the energy is on a high. And sitting with one of the staff members, I just realized, hold on a second, there's a current theme here of negativity that's going on here, and I need to address it. It's my responsibility as an owner to make sure that we create environments for people to perform. And I called them all together. I didn't ask permission, and I spoke to the whole team. And you'll see in the previous podcast, you'll see me standing around with my team. If you go to YouTube and you look at the previous podcast, you'll see me standing around with my team. I've got my crutches. I still have my crutches today. I'm on one. I'm hoping to get rid of the other one in the next week or two. But really just having a zero tolerance on negativity in the workplace, in disrespecting other human beings. We built this company on respect, and this company will thrive on respect. whether it's respect to the client, whether it's respect for us as individuals. We will honor that as a code of conduct, as a value system in our business. And I very much lay the gauntlet there. And all of a sudden, that day just shifted, and the next day shifted, and everything was like, you still need to lay down the law. When people say, build a business to work without you, I'm not 100% there yet. I'm probably stumbling all the time getting there. In fact, I stumble more times than ever these days because I'm stepping away more. Not that I'm not working on the business. I'm working on bigger decisions. I'm working on more responsible decisions. But I'm definitely allowing my team to make decisions and to take ownership of their decisions going forward. If there are consequences, they will bear the consequences of those decisions too. That's the environment that we've created, but that also creates an environment for people to want to be there. Okay, so it's created a culture now of people feeling like, what, I can't just wait for the owner to tell me what to do. I've got to take that initiative. I've got to take responsibility. I've got to take ownership. And it shifted. It definitely shifted to a positive side. I've had people telling me the whole week that it's been amazing. And then what we do, one of the rituals that we do every Tuesday morning is we have our weekly huddle. So we have management teams sit around a table. We've outgrown it at the moment. We're all standing around. Some people are standing inside the workshop because they can't all stand around the table. We have a cup of coffee. We sit quietly. And one person starts off expressing what they personally feel like's happening in their life and what they feel like expressing business-wise as well. So those two items, personally and business. And you don't interrupt them. You let them carry on. So this has become a ritual. We've been doing that for almost 4.5 years now. And we had the most incredible meeting or incredible huddle this Tuesday. We had a big team. It's difficult to get everyone together. Lots of people say, there's no time to do it. And why do we have to do the huddle? This is why. Listen to the story. So we're sitting and this huddle kicks off, and about the 7th, 8th person down the line, everyone says how they personally feel now. Their business gets to his person. He's pretty new. He's a great worker. I love him to bits. And I won't mention his name, but he says, guys, I'm just going through an incredibly hard time right now. And we had no idea that this was the case. No idea. And he had a tear in his eye, and he choked up, and he couldn't talk. And then I said, no wonder this guy says he wakes up at 4 o'clock every morning to get here. He's just moved to the far end of Cape Town. Something's happened to him in his life, and with his family, and he has to travel for 4 hours, 3.5, 4 hours, sometimes changing 3 to 4 taxis to get to our work. Man, it was incredible to see. He just choked up and he couldn't carry on anymore. And then I saw the guy that introduced him, who was the next guy to express how he was feeling, was just as choked up. And he just said, look, guys, this is a family, and it's so awesome that this can happen, and that we are respected, and that our space is held, and that we are acknowledged as human beings in this environment. And not even the 4th person from there, it must have been a little bit of a trigger, I think, to everyone. He said, it's the first Mother's Day weekend that I've had without my mother being there, and I know that she was very close to him, and he was very close to her. And just looking them in the eye and just showing them, say, guys, we can't do anything about it, but we know what you're going through. Guys, we spend so much time with our people at work, we might as well create an environment for them to perform. So that was an eye-opener for me, again, saying we're doing something right at Lab of Companies. So Lab of Companies is going to grow, and watch the space. I hope you like my shirt. We've got our Lab of Company branding that's really taken off. We're having all our cars branded soon. We'll have them in the next 3 to 6 weeks. We'll have all our cars branded Lab Companies. We do pools, we do waterproofing, we do flat roofs, we do pitched roofs. And it's I don't do quotes anymore. I'm not on the roofs. I'm not. All I'm doing at the moment is putting the infrastructure together for my people to perform, because, my thing is that I want to create a legacy for my family, but I also want to create a legacy for my people. And it just gives me so much of a step in the day when I wake up in the morning and I know I'm going to ask myself, okay, whose lives are we going to touch today? Whose lives are we going to make a difference in? And for me, that's crucial. So that's the team side. And maybe one more story on the team side. We were reflecting yesterday, and one of my senior colleagues, in fact, is a partner, he said to me, listen, what shifted with the team? There seems to be something dynamic that shifted with the team. So maybe it was my intervention this week, just jumping in and saying, guys, don't forget our value system. This is what we stand by. They needed to hear it from me. But also one of my team leaders, or one of our top leaders in the group, in our company, he had an issue where he says, you know what, I just feel like I'm shouting at everyone too much. And I just felt like, and this might be strange for someone listening, but he's very faith-led, and it's I need to respect that, because he gets his true north from being closer to God. And he just felt like he didn't want to be that individual shouting at people anymore. So he identified his feelings. It's okay to be angry. And in this industry, we can teach people to do something. When you consistently teach someone to do something, they still don't do what they're supposed to do. It's very difficult to hold back. We're all about quality, and when people don't do quality, when they don't adhere to quality standards, it reflects into the job. Clients get unhappy. We don't do a roofing job properly, and there's a quality issue. It reflects on us. So he takes it very seriously, and he just found a way to deal with it in a more passive tone. So he toned down his voice, took a breather before he went and shouted, just found another way of dealing and connecting with that individual, and he's making so much of a difference to everybody. It's had like a knock-on effect, like a domino effect on the whole company, where it's not a fear-based company. It's more a pull culture than a push culture, if you know what I mean. So that's been magic, and it puts tears in my eyes, really, because I love to see my team leaders grow. It's up to me to help them grow. So the team's coming on nice, and I could tell you many stories about teams, but we just don't have too much time in the podcast. Also on the system side, I'm really experimenting more. I think I told you guys a bit more about it last week. I'm studying a different way to identify systems. We were on System Hub. It's like a cloud software system that you download onto your PC, and then you upload all your systems. So you basically systemize areas in your business. I just found that didn't work too well with me. Maybe I still need some more work in that area, but it requires too much intervention on my side. I've discovered another system that I think is going to work with us a little bit more. And what I learned from that system that I want to implement in our company, that's going to help us systemize routine more, is that it's creating a culture around systems. That's essential. You don't just systemize something. We can't. I've done it for a long time. It fails all the time. I've systemized processes. I said, okay, the phone rings, and from when the phone rings to when the client pays their money, what happens? What's the system? Okay, the phone rings, so what's the script? What do you say to the client? Do we have to take a ladder to site? Do we have to ask them a couple of questions to qualify them, instead of having our technicians drive all the way there and they're not properly qualified? And what is that whole process? And what do we do when we arrive at the client? Do we introduce our team to the client? What are we wearing? That's a whole system. But it's changed in the last 2 years so dramatically that I just can't keep up with the system changes in my business. And I think for myself, I felt a little bit let down, because I spent all this time systemizing, and then no one follows it because it changes, and it's up in the cloud somewhere, so no one follows it. So I've got something now that I think is going to work, and I'm going to share it more with you as time goes by. I feel I owe it to the Chronicles community to share that with you, and that'll come soon. So watch the space there. But again, it's creating a pull culture, not a push, not forcing people to follow systems, but creating a culture where they use systems to improve themselves. It's focusing more on the individuals and how we can improve the individuals, maybe using systems. And individuals take responsibility for their systems, and they keep it updated on a weekly basis, even on a daily basis. and you create a very big awareness around creating solid systems for the company that way. But someone needs to drive it. It needs to be taken ownership of from a senior level. It's quite an interesting process, and the process and the thinking and the philosophy behind it is very much like Toyota grew their business, with never-ending improvement, incremental improvements, and they've got an amazing brand today. They've got great people that work for them. They've got incredible systems. So and it can be applied to the services industry. But let me be the test dummy for that, and I'm going to try that experiment and share it more with you as we go. Excited to share that with you. Okay, so that's where we are with systems. On the number side, I had a meeting on Tuesday with my CFO and my financial manager, and we discussed and looked at the figures, and we're really looking at certain areas how we can pivot the business a little bit more so we can save costs and increase revenue. But one thing that we did discover is that we're not going to build a significant business by saving costs. We need to up our numbers, and we need to make sure that we get to a stage where we are conquering market share in our city. So we've looked at that. We've looked at the key levers. We've looked at certain ways to bring down costs as well, so that while we grow, that we just be conscious of the fact that we are lean in that area as well, and that we're not just spending unnecessary. We've got budgets for everything right now, and we're discussing and really improving on that, on the numbers figure on a daily basis. So very encouraged by that. Our marketing is also coming on nicely. Like I said, we're going to be branding all our vehicles soon, and you're looking at a uniform brand right across our company, from the buckies or the vehicles to the shirts. So making it easy for everyone. We don't want different brandings on all the shirts. We want the same branding on the shirt that's going to carry the same message to the client. And we're going to simplify, make things a bit more, how can I say, on our cars specifically, we're going to simplify our messages more, not to have too many things on the car. We want it to be neat. We want it to be powerful. We want it to be simple. We want it to be easy. And we want it, of course, to come across professional. So guys, those have been a couple of wins and the tribulations this week. We had one of our guys had an accident yesterday, and my senior manager phoned me and says, listen, at 7 o'clock, he says, look, I've got some bad news for you. The one guy's had an accident in the northern suburbs. He sent me a photo of the car, and I was like, is anyone hurt? No. Okay, cool. Tell them to come home. Got insurance on it. Let's see how we can prevent that accident from happening again. But the fact that no one's hurt is a good thing, and we can't focus on areas that are out of our control. So in the past, I'd get upset. I would start saying, well, you're probably not worthy. Why didn't you drive the vehicle? Good, you were rushing home. Why were you doing that? You're negligent. You're driving our assets at the moment. No, you can't focus on areas that you have no control, but you can focus on the areas that you do have control. So the areas that we do have control is to figure out how we can get the person back to the workshop safely, and to follow a couple of principles, have a couple of chats around how we can drive safer, and be a bit more conscious of us, of our driving habits going forward. We've got more buckies, more vehicles on the road, and these things are going to happen. I suppose my point is, as a leader, it doesn't faze me. This is part of the process. I bring it on. Bring it on. It has to happen. I wake up every morning saying, okay, what shit's going to hit the fan today? And that's important for me, because I want to know that I want to keep on believing that you can't grow a significant business if you don't have skin in the game. And having skin in the game is accepting the lows and the highs. Guys, that's all we have for this week. I'm looking forward to having my next podcast for you as well. As I said to you, we'll be interviewing more people going forward as well. Let me know what it is that you want me to talk about. If there's anything else you want me to cover in this chapter or in the podcast chapter, drop me a message. I'm happy to discuss it with you. If there's anywhere you want me to take this podcast, you're my community. I want to hear from you. Please like and share this with like-minded individuals. There are other people out there that would like to learn from mistakes that we make as well, and from our successes. There's people, the entrepreneurs and business owners, that need a bit of motivation as well. This country's not in a great place with elections coming up at the moment, and we need to keep ourselves positive. Guys, we'll see you next week. Looking forward to connecting.